Just a quick thing that I want to show here. If we talk to the receptionist here, despite the fact that Lady Venus has now fled the Under entirely, apparently she's still not done giving prizes to the winner, so we can't enter the Under Colosseum yet. Okay, so we're back at the station. Now it's time to actually use the subway key and get where Venus fled to. So let's go through here. I still find that place really disturbing and depressing. Anyway, let's insert the subway key that she so stupidly dropped, and get ready for really awesome music that sadly won't last for that long. Also, this is a pretty... I'm guessing this is like a maglev train. It's actually kind of like the one in Gold and Silver. But anyway, this music is amazing. I love this song so much. And let's do a dance with Misty Judy here, because she got in the way. She's about to really get in the way and stop me from talking to those two. Just, seriously, look at it. Come on! Your AI is just like Xenoblade party member AI. She was even stopping me from getting out of the door there. Anyway, let's just go ahead and talk to these two side members. Oh yeah, you totally are. Oh, wait a minute, you are those people who keep foiling our plans. So, they run away, like a lot of villains do in this game. And... ah! Okay, that was a little extreme. But we can check the area over here. This I actually missed for quite a long time on my first playthrough. If we go past all of the containers, we get a U-disc. So it's another disc for the UFO and the Under, and this one's entirely optional. We'll be showing where that leads in a moment. But first, let's just go through this door that's hanging on its hinges there. So they blew up this room and made a giant chasm in between us and, well, wherever this place is. Unfortunately, see this glinting thing here? The main gate key to whatever this place is just happened to be on our side of the explosion. Yeah, that's a pretty stupid coincidence, but I'm just gonna roll with it, because otherwise we would have no way of entering their lab and the plot would come to a screeching halt, so... I'm not exactly gonna chalk this up to also... yeah, you have to use the subway key in the right direction. I'm not going to chalk that up to stupidity, because technically it was a complete coincidence that the key just so happened to end up on our side of the room and not get destroyed in the explosion, but still, it's pretty dumb. Anyway, back on the magnet train. I mean, this music is awesome, but the magnet train back in Gold and Silver had amazing music as well that you only got to hear for a few seconds. So, we have to go back to the Under now. And we need to access that place. Should be pretty obvious what that place was, considering what the purpose of this train is for transporting Shadow Pokemon. We have to access that place from the world map. But first, I want to go ahead and use that U-disc. Also, for some reason, this elevator actually works now. So that's good. I'm guessing you have to go all the way across the train to the lab in order to make this elevator start working. So at least that saves us some hassle of climbing the stairs. I like the Under's music too. I mean, it should be... well, you should assume by now that I like all the music in this game. But there are just some tracks that I like more than others, which is actually most of them. But yeah, the music in this game is great. I remember when IGN did its review of this game, they actually didn't like the music, which... I guess everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I did find that kind of strange. So the Colosseum actually is accepting challenges now. Don't do it yet! The levels are in the mid to high 50s, you are definitely not ready, and you will get destroyed. Trust me, I did, actually, in this very video that I'm currently commenting on, and I got completely wrecked. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and use the U-disc here. So this thing is going to travel in the upward direction. What's up, I wonder? Well, we'll see. Like I said, this is completely optional, but it's kind of cool they added in little things like this. Yeah, we're going all the way up out of Pyrite's Ravine. Up to the top of the windmill, where we have, for some reason, a time flute. What that was doing up here, I have no idea, but this is the second of only 3 time flutes in the game. The other two besides the first one are all optional. This is one of the well, actually, the only easy one to get. Let me just spoil right now how you get the third one. You have to get to battle 100 in Mount Battle. Also, nice angle there. So, yeah, the final Time Flute is your prize for completing Mount Battle. So it's going to be a while before we're able to do that. There is also an L disc to go left, but I actually forget how you get that. Okay, yeah, for now I'm going to use the F disc, because this is actually the fastest way to get back to the world map. Thanks to that shortcut from the Colosseum. That is after past me is a complete idiot and tries to enter the Colosseum, which was really, really bad idea. They probably should put some kind of warning on these Colosseums, but anyway. So, Suicune is doing kind of okay. The thing is, I end up caving and using a Time Flute on Suicune. Because otherwise, Suicune just does not have any good... Okay, so at this point I tried to purify some Shadow Pokemon in the Colosseum, but it didn't turn out very well. But yeah, otherwise Suicune has no good moves until the very end of its heart gauge, and... yeah, basically, I know that it's a bit of a waste since I've already increased Suicune's heart gauge a little bit, but I decided to use a Time Flute because, I mean, it's a Pokemon that I'll be mainly using on my team, and there's really not, well, there are a couple of Pokemon towards the end. I'll just say that you probably want to save one Time Flute for the very last Shadow Pokemon you get during the main story, because its heart gauge is absolutely enormous, and the game pretty much wants you to use a Time Flute on it. But anyway, I'm about to get totally destroyed. I'll just cut here, and I'll be back in, weirdly enough, a Purification montage. Because after this, I actually purified a whole ton of Pokemon off-screen. So, just briefly showing this is another method that I tried to use to purify Shadow Pokemon a little bit by walking. This was me attempting to use the tape the control stick down and leave the game on trick. But I couldn't really get it to fully work. So, yeah, as you can see, I've purified a lot of these Pokemon, except Suicune is not quite done yet. So at this point, I decided to use the Time Flute on Suicune. I didn't want to talk over the flute song this time, because it's actually really great. So, Suicune has been purified, and regained the move Rain Dance. That'll actually be pretty great, but no experience points. I wasn't quite at the heart gauge level where Suicune would have started gaining experience, so that's unfortunate. But it's already higher level than everything I have. So I'm mainly showing this because I decided to actually nickname Suicune. I decided to nickname Suicune less of a name and more of a pronunciation guide. This is what I personally felt Suicune should always have been. Well, not always have been named, not the specific spelling of it. But I feel that it should have been spelled something like this. So, S-U-I, Sui, the Japanese word for water, and Kun. K-U-N. If you know any Japanese at all, or even have watched a bit of anime, you'll know that Kun is an honorific that's usually applied to males. This is actually what Suicune's name is supposed to be. Water-kun. That's actually what it is. It's referencing because Entei is fire, and then Tei is a suffix that's given to emperors. Raikor is, the core part I think is lord. So, Suicune is, it's actually meant to be Water Monarch. Also, I'm just showing all of the Shadow Pokemon that I've currently purified. Because Kun used to be an honorific. Well, it's still an honorific now, but now it's more of a casual way to refer to males. Whereas, in the past, I think it used to be like a samurai lord-like honorific. A lot of words in Japanese that are now colloquial, this is just a random bit of a language lesson, a lot of words in Japanese that are now colloquial used to actually be very respectful. In particular, I think Kisama, since there's summer on it, I think that actually used to be respectful as well, but now it's one of the rudest forms of address imaginable. My guess is how that happened is that people started using it ironically, or sarcastically, and eventually the sarcastic version became its actual meaning, and the original meaning was forgotten. But hey, obscure Japanese trivia for you there. But anyway, yes, so Suicune is actually meant to be Suicune. That's actually how you pronounce it. Now, I always found the way they wrote it in English to be just really difficult to figure out how it was meant to be pronounced. I mean, my child self thought it was Summercane, but that's a different issue entirely. But, like, I don't know, I guess maybe, but it's like, people often say Suicune as if it's S-W-E-E. I know that's actually what one of the guidebooks described its pronunciation as, but that's not really what it is. It's Suicune. And it's more of a hard sound, like a hard K than a C. And you could be saying, oh yeah, well, of course, that's in Japanese and the English pronunciation is different. Well, all of the legendary beasts have the same names in English and in Japanese, so I still go with the Japanese pronunciation as quote-unquote canonical, even though I believe there is no right or wrong way to pronounce most Pokemon names. And I'm going way, way off topic here. Oh, hey, Ladian's finally purified. I can not have it in my team anymore. So now I'll just rearrange my team, and then we'll actually start doing real story progress. So as you can see here, I have 25 Pokemon snagged, 25 Pokemon purified. We're making some pretty good progress. So after that, we're going to be heading out to, like I said, more main story progress. And our team's looking kind of, well, the ones apart from my legendary beasts are getting caught up. So I mentioned this earlier, this is the team that I'm going to be sticking with for the rest of the game. Now, I hope people don't consider me cheap for using legendary. I mean, most people don't consider using the non-Uber legendaries to be quote-unquote cheap, but it is a bit of a cliched team for this game. The 2 starters, 2 of the legendary beasts, really just 2 kind of more original Pokemon on the team. And I did feel a bit bad about that looking back, but this is, well, the 4 apart from Jumpluff and Medicham, both of which I didn't use in my first playthrough, but the other 4, all of them were on my very first main story team when I played this game for the first time. And so, I'm kind of trying to mimic that here. That's, also I can't open it from that side. Remember these items that were taunting us before? Yeah, we can actually get them now. But yeah, I'm mainly using this team for nostalgia reasons, because I kind of wanted to recreate the first team I ever used for this game as closely as possible. So, yeah, I hope people understand. It is, again, a little bit boring, because I know that a lot of people who play this game, especially on YouTube, might be using the legendary beasts. But anyway, that shutter there is closed. So, let's open this door and head into the lab. And yeah, so this music, this was the place we were at before, the Shadow Pokemon lab. Oh, and we already have a shutter switch, so let's go ahead and unlock it. Kinda weird we haven't been interrupted by any Cypher trainers yet, though. That's a little suspicious. Nobody seems to be guarding these main gates. Now, that's all we can do here, because we need a card key. Yeah, more Gen 1 callbacks. Shades of Silphco, and I guess the radio tower in Gold and Silver. It's smaller Gen 1 callbacks like this that I'm actually okay with. Things like the complete clone of Viridian Forest in X and Y, that made me pretty angry when I realized that, but let's not talk about negative stuff here. Let's instead appreciate one of the very few video game compositions to include a harmonica. In a really awesome way, too. You'd think they'd hide an item back there, but seems like they're not. Yeah, name another video game track that features a harmonica prominently that isn't from Trails in the Sky. So, let's head on in and infiltrate the lab. This is going to be a fairly long area. This is one of the biggest dungeons in the game. It's nowhere near as confusing as Pyrite Cave, thankfully, but it can get a little bit complicated sometimes. And there's a few sort of quasi-puzzles we need to do. Oh, hi there, guy. Okay, they're gonna move out of this place. I guess just like Silphco, we also fight some random scientists who aren't, well, they are affiliated with the evil team, but they're not actually evil team members. Interesting thing that I don't know a lot of people know is that the Japanese name of the scientist class in Generation 1 was actually Scientist Gone Astray, which, well, I don't think you ever fought any scientists that... Did you ever fight any scientists that weren't allied with Team Rocket? But it basically implied that was an evil trainer class by default, which was kind of interesting. I think they did change that in later games when you fought scientists who weren't evil. Of course, ones here are called researchers, but anyway, we have some Voltorbs, and Spark is actually a special move in this generation, not physical, so bear that in mind. If I remember right, it has a 30% chance of paralysis, so I'm guessing somebody's gonna get paralyzed here. Or critted. Or critted and paralyzed! I was waiting for that! Again, I just got this sense that that was gonna happen. Wow, Lunar is not... Like, Lunar and Jumpluff are doing pretty much equal damage, although, admittedly, they both have pretty equally bad attacking stats. Actually, Umbreon's are higher, because I know that Jumpluff's a 55. And we've got the same power moves, too, so these two are kind of a team, although Jumpluff's less bulky and more about just fast support. Sadly, these Voltorbs are not Electrodes. You'll be seeing Electrode's fainting animation later on in the lab, and it's amazing. Definitely one of my favourite fainting animations in this game. Now, would you go ahead and paralyze Umbreon just so that you can also get paralyzed thanks to Synchronize? Unfortunately, you didn't go ahead and attack it. Let's see. Yeah, let's just go for a heal here. Synthesis is lacking in PP, but it is pretty nice to have a source of healing that doesn't require items. Wow, really? It's almost like your Gen 1 Voltorb and Electrode critically paralyzing, but critically all the time thanks to your ridiculous speed stats. For the longest time, I actually didn't know that Electrode was the fastest Pokemon in Gen 1. In fact, it was the fastest Pokemon period until Gen 3. Something like in the range of 150-ish base speed, but its attacking stats are really not that good. But I never realized that for a long time, just because well, I don't think I ever really trained up an Electrode seriously back then. In fact, I don't know if I've ever trained up an Electrode at all. It's just a weird thing. I'm not really sure exactly what Electrode could do that other Pokemon can't do better. Like, in terms of attacking fast electric types, Jolteon does that better. Please don't paralyze me. Ugh, of course you would. You're paralyzing everyone except the one that actually want to get paralyzed. Because that would backfire on you due to Synchronize, like I said. But yeah, fast attacking electric type Jolteon does that better. Supportive fast Pokemon, I mean, really it feels like the main thing that Electrode does from what I've seen is dual screens, and there are other Pokemon that do that better. And then its main claim to fame is exploding, but its attack stat is so terrible that I've often seen Pokemon survive it even in these generations where explosion halved the defense of the target. It's like a lot of people freak out when they see Voltorbs or Electrodes self-destruct in Nuzlocke, but very often Pokemon survive. Anyway, this guy also reminds me of someone in Silphco, the one who got sent to the Tixie branch. Wonder if he's gonna go and get help. Oh, by the way, we actually had to fight him because he had the card key. I don't think we needed that commentary, Mr. Junior. I think we could have figured that out on our own. Although I am being a little bit too mean to her lately. By the way, remember here? Yep, this was the place that got blown up earlier, so we can finally get this item chest and 3 elixirs. Pretty nice since you can't usually buy those, but, yeah, I forgot how early into the lab it was that you reached the place that you were in before. but still, this song is great. Now, there isn't a healing machine here, strictly speaking, but there is a PC. And you can use a PC as a makeshift healing machine, which is what I'm probably going to do. Because, as I've said before, if you deposit a Pokemon into the PC, it gets fully healed. So, well, that's why heal balls in Gen 4 are pretty much completely worthless. Well, if you have a full team of 6, that is. I mean, they're good for humiliating legendaries by forcing them to be in a heart-shaped, well, in a pink Pokeball that makes heart patterns appear whenever they're sent out. But other than that, they're pretty useless. So, get used to doing that. You will see a lot of use in this area of PCs as makeshift healing machines. Because we don't get an actual healing machine here, I think, not at all. And there aren't many PCs here either, so we're going to be making a lot of trips back to that one PC. But anyway, now I can actually head into the real part of the lab. And here's where things get slightly more confusing. Also, this place has the return of... we might be seeing one in a moment, actually. Getting paranoid, because I know that they're here somewhere. But I don't know exactly where. Maybe here? The return of... wait for it. Okay, we can enter this door. The return... there we go! Ceiling Peons! I knew you were going to show up at some point. Cypher Peon Cole. Hey, that's actually a normal name. Apom and Castform. But yeah, fans call these types of trainers ceiling peons. They love to jump down and ambush you from the ceiling. This lab is full of them, so seemingly empty corridors, be prepared for an ambush. I pretty much knew that one was coming. I knew there was at least one on this floor, I just didn't know exactly where. Oh, by the way, we also have a Shadow Pokemon here. Unfortunately, it's Apom. Yeah, I'll be talking about that once I get to the bio, but for now, we also have Castform, another Pokemon that's not very good. Although, Castform is a pretty fun Pokemon. It's not... oh, missing is annoying there. Castform is a Pokemon that's definitely not great, and it's certainly terrible competitively, but it is a very fun Pokemon to use. I remember using it back in Ruby and Sapphire in the main storyline a little bit. Oh, that's not good. Castform has base 70 everything, so that's the main reason why it's not that good for the most part, but its unique gimmick is that in every weather it will transform into a different form. So, now that it's rainy, Castform is turning into its Raindrop form, which is Water type, and it also has the signature move Weather Ball, which not only changes into whatever type matches the weather, so it will get same type attack bonus because you'll be in a type that matches the weather, but also it doubles in power in weather, putting it up to, well, I forget if it's double at one point. I think it's normally 50 power and it becomes 100 power in weather, which is actually a pretty decent move. Unfortunately, Gen 4 took away Castform's main aspect of uniqueness when they gave Weather Ball to a bunch of other Pokemon that weren't Castform, so that's kind of... I used to love Weather Ball and Roserade, that was pretty fun, especially since you could use Rain Dance to cut off your fire weakness and devastate opposing fire types with Weather Ball. Speaking of Weather Ball, here it is. Yeah, it actually hits pretty hard. Roserade was one of those Pokemon that worked decently in both Sun and Rain, because in Sun you can spam Fire-type Weather Balls. I think I even trained up 2 Roserades back in Generation 4 for several of my competitive teams. One of them I think was for a Sun team, and the other was... or a Rain team, I forget. I know it was something with Weather, and the other was a standard Choice Scarfer. Unfortunately, your weakness is that now you've turned into a Water type, I can now hit you for super effective damage with Grass moves. But yeah, Castform is just a pretty fun Pokemon in general. I actually kind of wish there was a Shadow Castform in this game because, like I said, it's just pretty fun to use. Yeah, Castform is not weak to that, thanks to it changing out of its normal type. Yeah, it's normal type in clear weather, by the way. Turns into a Rock type in Sandstorm, but Rock type Weather Ball is definitely one of the weaker ones because that weather doesn't actually power up Rock moves. Hell doesn't power up Ice moves either, so yeah, the Ice type Weather Ball is also kind of weak. You'd be better off using Blizzard there. Oh, hey, look, there's a Remoraid that's not level 20. But yeah, you can do a lot of fun things with Castform. You can do a, just a fun gimmick set that has, like, Fire Blast, Thunder, Blizzard, Solar Beam, which I know a lot of people use back in Gen 3 main story, or you can just run all... well, you can run 3 Weathers and then Weather Ball. I'd preferably exclude Sandstorm there, because... wait, does Castform even have a Sandstorm form? I don't think it does, now that I think about it. completely forgotten whether it has one or not, but I know that Weather Ball does turn into a Rock-type move during Sandstorm. I'll actually have to go and look that up. I've completely forgotten if Cast Form has a Sandstorm form or not. I know it has a Hail form. Of course, Cast Form was also famous for an infamous glitch during Generation 4. It's raining now. This is going to be fun. It's Suicune, please. Oh, except I sent that Espeon instead, which is kind of a shame. Yeah, in Gen 4, if you activated the Acid Rain glitch, which was caused when a Pokemon gets KO'd by Pursued while a certain effect is in play, I forget exactly what caused it, but what ends up happening is the game treats it as if every weather is active at the same time, and what that means is Cast Form will constantly keep changing between its forms, and the game will just be stuck because Cast Form will never stop transforming. That's pretty funny. Also, all Pokemon will take damage, I think, 4 times every turn, except for Pokemon that are immune to both Hail and Sandstorm, in which case they'll be immune to all that damage. So Mamoswine particularly enjoyed Acid Rain. I really wish I don't think they fixed the Acid Rain glitch even in Platinum. It was a really crippling bug in, if you were going to play competitive with the actual games and not simulators, which is what I did, because I liked using the actual games. It was a really, really big detriment to doing that, because it was a pretty crippling glitch, and Pursuit was pretty common, so it was very easy to activate that glitch. Anyway, just gonna go for a weak Giga Drain and chucking a Snag Ball. Let's see if I can get me another member of the club. 1, 2, nope. Was prepared to say 2 there, but I didn't quite get it. I actually forget what Apom's catch rate is. I'm not sure if it's particularly high or low. I think back in Generation 2, Apom was another one of those swarming Pokemon, in that it was like 1% encounter rate unless a certain person rang you up and told you that there was an Apom swarm in that area. I think it was the School Kid on the route just to the left of Ecruteak City? I think he was the guy who told you about Apom swarms. 1, 2, 3. Apom gets. That was pretty easy. Apom, yet another member of the club, and one that particularly suffered before it got its evolution. Apom is just not that good in general in this game. Even Furret outclasses it as an attacking normal type because it was available so much earlier. And Stantler has a lot of unique things going for it. Apom, there's really only one reason to use Apom in this game, and that's that it's, I believe, the only Pokemon in Colosseum capable of having the pickup ability, which, if Apom is not holding an item, it has a 10% chance of finding an item at the end of any battle. The problem with pickup in this game is that Colosseum runs off the Ruby and Sapphire pickup chart, which means that it's not tied to level and you can only get one set of items. The best you can hope for is a 10% chance of getting full restores, nuggets, revives, or rare candies. You can also get PP ups at a 4% chance, and the 1% item is really not that worth it, it's just a King's Rock. You can get those from Mount Battle anyway. It's alright, I guess, but an Emerald you could potentially get Earthquake TMs through pickup. I really wish that was the case here, but sadly no. Oh, and all of this is assuming that you actually hit the 50% chance to get pickup and not the completely useless runaway. So, you actually might want to reset for this fight just for that reason, because pickup is a unique aspect of Apom in this game that it's probably worth getting, because there's really no other reason to use Apom. Yeah, I know the School Kid, I think it was School Kid Jack, who was near the National Park, rang you up and told you about various hidden effects of moves, which is actually kind of cool, because back in Gen 2, that was one of the only ways you could know about them. Things like Stomp being effective against Pokemon that use Minimize. Little random bits of trivia about moves like that. And I think I might be going back to the healing machine now. Okay, this room is open. Let's enter here. Doesn't look like there's much... Okay, there is a scientist. I guess we can battle him. No, we are not. Prepare to be humiliated in battle. Lethco? That sounds like the name of an actual company, not a person. Not sure what they'd sell, though. Lefko. Come up with your own advertisement for it here. But anyway, most of the scientists in here use electric types, so if you have any ground types or anything with Earthquake, in fact, Parlor Slime would do kind of well here, now I think about it. But anyway, I'm sure that School Kid Jack outside of the National Park was the one who told you about the moves which would lead the other School Kid as the Apom Swarms. I know that Hiker Anthony was Dunsparce. I know that Fisherman, was it Wilton who was Quillfish? I know that one of the Fishermen was Quillfish Swarms. Anyway, though. Electrike is one of those Pokemon that I actually quite like it, but I just don't really see it used all that often. Certainly got better when Mega Manectric was introduced, although weirdly, I don't see Mega Manectric used all that often. It was pretty big in early Gen 6 VGC, and now it's just not really that common anymore. One of those Pokemon that you had to know when to Mega, because it had Lightning Rod before Mega, and that really helped in double battles, but after Megaing it became Intimidate, so you lose your Lightning Rod ability, but you do immediately lower the attack of both opponents. I'm sure I've already said this, but Manectric is one of those Pokemon that's Japanese name is an interesting case of varying pronunciations, because it's written as Rai Boruto. So, originally I thought that it was supposed to be Raibolt, Rai being, I think, Japanese for lightning, and Bolt, you know, just being Bolt, but apparently the official romanization is Livolt, which still makes sense, but it is different to how I thought it would be. But it could really be read as either. Also, here's Chinchou. I like Chinchou. Well, kind of. I don't know, Lantern is one of those Pokemon that actually did succeed in competitive for a while, despite having kind of mediocre stance. Yes, just because of its good type combination. I think I remember back in Generation 2, Chinchou was one of those Pokemon that I had good memories of fishing for, because you could get them at level 40 quite easily with the Super Rod, and that made them kind of ready for battle immediately, considering how low the levels in Johto were overall. What is it with scientists and criticaling me with electric moves? And it's always Jumpluff who takes the crits, too. It's weird. Anyway, let's send out the one that's not weak to electric, just to be safe. In fact, this is going to be fun. Face the power of Dan Green's ultimate Fire Blast of Doom. And you don't have Sturdy, because this is in Gen... Well, you do have Sturdy, but it doesn't work the way that it does in Gen 5, so I'm happy for that. And we can now just finish off this little anglerfish. It is interesting how Pokemon went the more cute route with its anglerfish, because real-life anglerfish are terrifying, and I could very easily see a really disturbing Pokemon being based off of them. Yeah, those are the ones where male anglerfish are extremely tiny, and when mating, they latch onto the female, and their bloodstreams fuse, and the male essentially becomes part of the female. Okay, so we need the down st key to open this area. Back when I first played this game, I thought that that was the down street key, and I was like, huh, why are they labeling areas as streets in a lab? But no, it's actually supposed to be the downstairs key. I only found that out pretty recently, but I always thought it was down street key. Apparently a certain famous YouTuber thought it was down Saint key, so everyone has their misrememberings of this particular key. But anyway, back to the makeshift healing machine. Also, we have Apom. Yay. So after I heal here, I think that's where I'll end things off. Next time, we will continue moving into the Shadow Pokemon lab, and actually seeing some more Shadow Pokemon this time. We only found one in this part, but later on, things get a little bit more interesting. So, I will pretty much end now, and I'll be seeing you in the next part.